Welcome to the Holly Hibbard Leadership Podcast, your go-to source for actionable insights, practical advice, and inspiring stories to help you lead with faith-filled purpose at work and at home. If you're looking to equip, empower, and encourage yourself to thrive in an ever-changing world, you're in the right place. I'm Holly Hibbard, and with over 20 years of experience as a science teacher, leadership coach, entrepreneur, and relationship mentor, I understand the challenges and growth opportunities that come with pursuing your passion. Whether you're chasing career goals, taking entrepreneurial leaps, or finally reaching for those long postponed ambitions, I'm here to help. So let's get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations and explore ways you can lead your family, lead your life, and find your calling with intention and faith. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. I am so happy that you're here, and a special hello to you if you are new. Did you know that you can send me a text message through the episode? It's in the show notes somewhere. But go ahead and do that. Say hello. Tell me where you're listening from. Is this the first show of the Holly Hibbard Leadership Podcast that you've listened to? I don't know. Throw me a fun fact. Today, we're actually going to talk about bad habits. But more importantly, I wanted to zoom in on one bad habit that is kind of hidden or obscure. And when you have this habit, it makes you very difficult to work with. And I don't only mean in a professional setting, but also in your relationships as well. I will fly out the gates first by telling you what it is, and then I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive into it because I think you might automatically say, well, that's a bad habit and it's rude and end of story. Why is this podcast X minutes long? But there's some more depth to it that I want to reveal to you. The habit that is obscure, kind of hidden, that is a bad habit that makes you difficult to work with is interrupting people. Now, you are either listening to this and going, oh my gosh, yes, because you immediately have a person come to mind that you are married to, work with, are friends with, who interrupts you all the time, and it drives you batty. And no matter how many times you've told them not to interrupt you, they continue to do it anyhow. Or I said the word interrupt, and your first thought might have gone to defensiveness. Ooh, I know I do that. I need to stop doing that. And like I said, right out the gate, you may already know that interrupting somebody is rude. Although there is one instance that I interrupt people for that is well-intentioned, and I will come back to that at the end here. But for the most part, this isn't just to say interrupting people is rude. I want to highlight the depth of what's happening. So when a person is sharing with you, let's go, I guess, realm by realm. If we are in relationship with a person, this could be your spouse, your significant other, this could be your child. When you interrupt that person, let's say they are sharing something with you. It could be about their day, something that is troubling them. It could be a really exciting moment that they can't wait to disclose to you, and they feel that you are emotionally safe enough to share that with. When you interrupt that person, it gives a subliminal sign to that person that what they are sharing isn't welcome by you. It gives the signal of you don't matter. This exciting thing that happened to you doesn't matter. Or if they're sharing an issue or something that's troubling them with you and you interrupt, even if it's with a solution, it still gives off the subliminal messaging to them that their problem, their feeling, their frustration doesn't matter. So in those moments, if you are the interrupter, it doesn't matter how well-intentioned you may be in that moment or how overexcited you were and you just can't help it. And by the way, again, I'm speaking as a person with ADHD. This is difficult for me to control, very difficult. And I have to catch myself when I do it. It doesn't matter how excited you were to share your piece, it still is going to send that message. Now, if it is well-intentioned and you do want to offer a solution or offer, console the person, or could you congratulate them for the really cool thing in the middle of their share, that's great. But when you catch yourself cutting them off, catch it. Stop yourself and say to them, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please keep going. And go back to focusing on what they are sharing with you. Notice that your thoughts might still be trying to get you to focus on what you want to say as soon as they stop talking. But for them to truly feel like they matter to you, it's important that you truly hear what they are saying so you can properly celebrate what they're sharing with you, so that you can offer them your advice or support if that is, in fact, what they want from you in that moment. But if you just interrupt and you do not go back on it and acknowledge it, that bulldozing moment will definitely give and sustain that subliminal message to them that what they are sharing, good, bad, ugly, does not matter. And it does not matter to you. And I'm sure if you're listening to this show, you're probably a decent person or a really great person, because I happen to know a lot of great people. So I'm going to assert that you are one of them. So that is the first thing. Interrupting is rude, yes, but more importantly, it sends a subliminal message to the person who's talking that what you have to say doesn't matter. And deeper than that, you don't matter. It gives the message to them that they as a human being don't matter. It's a way that we, in a hidden, subtle, obscure way, invalidate their human experience. And that is the true emotional crime here. Not only that it's rude, okay? Second thing around interrupting. So I said we would go, I guess, area by area. So we talked about relationships. And again, that goes for our work relationships, idea sharing. It goes for spouses. It goes for significant others. It goes with your kids. Let's specifically look at career. When you are in a professional setting and you might be leading a colleague, someone who is on the same playing field as you, you might be mentoring somebody, you might be mentored, and you have a person who is giving you their expertise, their advice, their training skills. And if you are interrupting that person, it can still have the feeling of what you have to say doesn't matter. But it also creates an attitude around you, or a reputation, I should say, that you have an unwillingness to learn, that you are closed-minded. Imagine someone is giving you a piece of advice or constructive criticism, and your mind goes to the defense. And again, this might not be conscious. This is very subtle. This is unconscious. And you interrupt them because you want to explain to them why you did it the other way. And it's telling them through your interruption that their feedback is of no value to you, is of no use to you, because you are already great as you are. Now, caveat with this is if you are a business owner, if you are the top of the food chain and you are the owner, the CEO, or the founder of the business, those are some difficult choices that you have to make. But there's still a way to do it with patience and grace and class. But for the most part, if we're just talking everyday leadership, we don't want to cut off people who are trying to help us, as my friend Joe Bruce says, better your best. And again, your interrupting is probably out of defensiveness. The other situation that can happen professionally is the interrupting may not only happen in a one-on-one setting, like I just described. It can happen in the presence of other people. So when that interruption happens, someone is trying to give you some wisdom, some support, some advice, or you're sitting there ready to receive wisdom and support, a solution to an issue that's happening, and that gets cut off or interrupted, it makes that conversation lose, yes, efficiency, but also effectiveness. People walk away from those conversations saying, what was the point of that? Wow, I never got the answer to that question because so-and-so kept cutting me off over and over again. And this is a tricky situation because unlike with our friendships and our family relationships, where we may have more willingness and leniency to stand up for ourselves, for lack of a better word, and say, hey, you're interrupting me. That's not okay. In a professional setting, oftentimes folks have to mind their P's and Q's. We don't want to step on the wrong toes. We don't want to be seen as disrespectful or insubordinate. But if the person is trying to convey a solution, wisdom, piece of advice, experience, and we are not listening to them thoroughly and instead cutting them off, it is rude, it is disrespectful. But the subliminal message that comes from that is, you are small, you do not matter, your beingness doesn't matter, I am more important than you. My wisdom has more experience than you. And in terms of creating a efficient, effective, positive, for the most part, corporate culture within an organization, that squashes all things. If we have that level of respect toward people who are our colleagues and on the same level of us, but we don't have that courtesy for people that we are supervising or managers to or mentoring, that's a problem. That causes major rift in the way that people feel about going to work, the way that people feel about company morale. And it makes you difficult to work with if you are the interrupter. If you have a reputation of, well, they never listen to me. If you have a reputation of, oh my gosh, it's so hard to talk to that person. They are constantly interrupting me and they never let me finish. I don't care how well-intentioned you are. People will aim and redirect their entire day around staying away from you or not having verbal conversations with you by phone or in person or in group settings because they know that they will never be able to feel and be fully self-expressed around you. You are making it difficult for them to get their job done. So I've addressed a couple different perspectives here. In a personal relationship setting and in a career setting, you might be the interrupter or you might be the one that is interrupted often. It might be one-on-one or it might be in a group setting where not only might you, while you're being interrupted, feel disrespected or made to feel less than, but it might be in front of other people, which makes that feeling 10 times what it could be. It amplifies it. But as I mentioned, there is one situation where if you are interrupting someone and there is good intention behind it, to me, it's actually acceptable. And I use this often when I am facilitating workshops in offices for organizations. I use this skill as a professional coach when I'm teaching the Reaching Higher for Professionals courses virtually. I use this with my personal clients. This is something I've learned as a coach. I can be a gentle interruption to someone when I want to encourage them to have brevity in what they're sharing, meaning I'm asking them to narrow down their share to as concise a way as possible. And the reason I'm asking them to do that is because it's easy to get lost in all the words, the overuse of words and description and repetitiveness. There's no efficiency in that, first of all. And second of all, your listening audience, they need to be able to follow the bouncing ball. And the more you talk, the less likely they're staying on board with you and they're checking out. You know, people, when their eyes glaze over, like that. So I will generally interrupt somebody and say, hey, how could you sum that up in 3 sentences? I give them a number, right? That's specific. Or if I'm taking sharing in a class or in a meeting, I might say, all right, everybody has 60 seconds, no more, no less. When the buzzer goes off, your time is up. You got to wrap it up. But the other last reason why I will interrupt somebody is when I feel that they are speaking about themselves in a way that keeps them from having accountability for their feeling or their action. And this recently happened when I was teaching a group course online, and this person was sharing so powerfully about the results that they came away with after the 6-week course online, and the way that it impacted their family and their marriage as well, plus their professional role. In fact, they were in the class to benefit their professional role, and ended up making the biggest impact in their marriage. And then they wanted to be done with the sharing, and they quickly dismissed it and said, but that's not what I was here for. And then that's okay. I didn't get this result professionally, but it did help over here. And I guess that's good enough. And I interrupted this person and said, hold on a minute. I want to point something out to you. I want you to recognize, what did you truly take away from this course? And when you share your answer, let's take away all the rules of what your result had to look like. And so my interruption was asking the person to reframe their perspective so that they could see that they did accomplish something really beautiful and totally outside the box of what they even came to that course for. And that is why I'll interrupt people as a coach, because it's from love, and it's typically because I have a question for them. And I invite them to answer a new question with a new perspective, a different point of view. Because my aim, just like my aim is for you, my aim for them is to see the potential that they have and the ways they are already tapping into that potential and making incredible things happen. And oftentimes I've noticed folks do not stop enough and give themselves credit. And that is why I interrupted that person, because self-deprecating, putting things to the side and saying, oh, that doesn't matter, or that's too small of a feat. Folks, we do this all the time. I'm asserting this. I'm not sure. I know I do this. I think it's part of the condition of being a leader, of being a person in this world who wants to make a difference. I know how hard I can be on myself. And when I hear others being that way with themselves, it's not that I'm telling them not to be like that ever. I don't know how to turn off that part of my brain. But what I can interrupt them for is to give them a moment in time, a moment to pause and reflect and think, what did I accomplish that got my life just a little bit closer to where I want it to be right now? And that is a gift that a gentle, loving interruption can give. But the other side of it, the bad habit of just interrupting people because you don't have the patience to listen to what they're saying, or you don't have the patience because they don't talk fast enough for you, or you have a question and you need to ask it right now, because heaven help you if you forget the question. I get it. Like I said, I very easily can forget the questions that I want to ask when certain groups or sessions or meetings or whatever or classes are going on. But that's why I write it down in front of me. And when it's time, I ask my questions, because oftentimes too, when I'm patient, the answer is revealed and then I don't need to ask it anymore. So I hope this gave you some insight today around you as a communicator. Are you one who interrupts a little too much or a lot too much in your personal life, in your professional life? And what are your ways you're going to improve that? And I would love to hear from you. Again, you can text the episode or drop me a comment if you're catching this somewhere on social, and let me know if you are the interrupted or the interrupter. And comment with, what are you going to do about it? Because I don't think anybody here really wants to be that person. That's all I have for you for today. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. I'm high-fiving you right now because I'm so proud of you for putting your personal growth first. Remember, I believe in you, and with faith-filled intention and committed actions, you can lead your life, purpose, and family to wherever you dream possible. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you'd take 30 seconds to help others discover the show. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, share the show with your friends and family, or screenshot this episode to your Instagram stories and tag me at thehollyhibbard. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. I'm always here cheering you on, and until next time, stay curious, remain encouraged, and keep empowering yourself. You're doing better than you think, I promise.